Yeah,
Sir, could you please start recording, sir?
yeah, already started, Snigdha. Right. So, before we start today's discussion, let us quickly recap the things that we have done in our last class. And also, it is important for today's class, right? So, I thought it will be nice if we have a quick recap of the things that we have done yesterday, right? So, you remember yesterday we were discussing about this NMOS inverter. All right, we have looked into one basic inverter configuration and so some generalized structure, which is something like this. This is the load, and you have an NMOS here, right? This is the V in and this is V out, right? This is VDD, right? And we have also discussed that at this output, as this output probably will be driving another gate, another MOSFET. So this will be maybe again connected with another gate, right? So, and for this gate you have gate oxide capacitance as well as some stray capacitances or parasitic capacitances that we will see later on. So you can expect that the load is basically one capacitor, right? So this is the C load, right? And we have seen also that this part is called the pull up network because the potential of this node will increase, okay, when a current flows through this, and basically when the capacitor gets charged from this VDD and when this is off, right, then this will increase the potential of this node. So it is called the pull up network, right? Similarly, when this transistor is on and if its driving capability is more, then this capacitor, if it is initially charged, then it will discharge through this transistor, right? So when this transistor is discharging, so that means the potential at this node is decreasing or reducing, right? So this particular network, here only one transistor is there. In other case, you might have more than one transistor, right? So those will be a bit more complicated things that we will discuss, in our quite later classes. Huh? So this network is called this pull down network, right? Hmm. So here we have said that this is load. This load may be a resistor. This load may be a transistor connected in a diode configuration, or this may be a depletion mode or transistor. This may be another PMOS, right? It can be like different things. But for yesterday's discussion, we have started with our basic discussion with the that the load is as a resistor, right? In today's class also, we will continue our discussion considering that this load or the pull-up network consists of only this resistor, and we will try to see its merit as well as the demerits, and try to see how can we prevent these issues, okay, of this particular configuration by using by replacing this resistor using some other, maybe when using another transistor here, right? But before that we should understand what are the really those demerits, right? And and one more thing here, as you can see, this is V in, this is V out. So if you plot this V out versus V in, sorry. So if you plot this V out versus V in, then you will get a shape similar to like this, right? So depending on whether here you have a resistor or you have a transistor, or if it is transistor, then it is connected in what configuration, depending on that, this shape might get slightly changed. Okay, but more or less the overall shape should be like this. Okay, these values might change, these peak values might change, right? This slope in the transition region that we have discussed last class, that might also change. This minimum value can also change, but the overall shape will be the same. right? Right. So if it is the shape of this voltage transfer characteristics, or in short, which is also called as, this is that, we have written here, voltage transfer characteristics, or in short, we have also said as VTC, right? So if this is the shape of this VTC, then we have also defined couple of points on this VTC. So let us quickly briefly recap those points, because this some of the points again, I mean, we will try to estimate today, okay, for this inverter, okay, when this we have a resistor here. So this point, that is the maximum output voltage, we have denoted it using VOH dash, right? And in some cases you will see that they have, in your, maybe in your book also it has written as VDD, but that is not the general case. What do I mean by not the general case? Means in some configuration this maximum voltage might not be equal to VDD. So in that case it is better to write this by using some other, a general notation. So it is VOH dash, right? Okay. And this is the maximum voltage, maximum output voltage. Minimum out, so at maximum output voltage will occur when the input voltage is 0, right? If the input voltage is 0, you can see here, then you get the maximum output voltage. So similarly, as this is an inverter, if the input voltage is maximum, input voltage maximum means it is nothing but equal to VDD, then the output voltage would be minimum. So you can see that this is the minimum output voltage, and we have denoted that voltage by using VOL dash, right? Okay. So these 2 point is clear. Now this, if you take the shape of this, consider the shape of this VTC, then from here you can, for this particular case, you can see as you are increasing V in from 0 volt, right, 0, 0.1, 0.2, like that you are increasing. So until V in is equal to the threshold voltage of this transistor will remain off, right? So up to that point, so in my PC it is showing something not right. So are you still able to hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear and see you.
Can you, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So in between it showed that network issue. So yeah, so what we were discussing, I think I lost that track. uh, yeah, what was our last discussion here, guys?
So
Sir, it
regarding
means
VTH,
that the V input should be minimum equal to V threshold for the transistor to conduct.
Right, right, right. Thank you, thank you. So, right, see, when you are increasing this V in, right, so that means basically you are increasing from here. So until this V in is equal to the threshold voltage, this transistor is not conducting. So basically then this transistor is off, right? So then no current through this load resistor, right? So if there is no current, then V out is will be equal to VDD. So until a particular point, means V in equal to VTH, this line will remain as flat, right? That you have understood. This line will remain flat. So once the threshold voltage has reached, then the current will start flowing, and this will also start falling down, right? So if you have difficulty to understand why it should fall down quickly, so you can consider the load line here, or if you want, I can draw it quickly here. So load line we are drawing. So this is VDS for this particular NMOS, and this is the ID, right? And we know the characteristics would look like this, right? Right. Now if we take a this point, right? Here it will be VDD, and you know how to calculate this point. I am not doing it. So this is the load line due to this resistor R, right? We are now considering that this resistor is here, right? Then you can see when the transistor is off. So these are for increasing VGS. VGS is increasing. So when this VGS is 0, so you can see for here, or less than threshold voltage. So out VDS is what? VDS is this one, right? Here for this particular case, VDS is equal to V out, right? So V out is equal to VDD. Right. Now, after once the threshold voltage means once the V in is greater than threshold voltage, current has started flowing. So you are getting a point like this. So you can see quickly the output voltage is changing from here till here to here to here like this, right? So as a result, you can also see that this output voltage here, with change in input voltage, will fall quite sharply, right, comparatively sharply, right? And it will keep on falling. Then when this will reach in this region, right, means for this particular suppose VG, or for this particular VG, you see onwards, then what will happen? These are in the triode region. Now after that, if you increase it any further, then you will see a minimum change, right? Probably here to here. If you consider one more higher radius, then only small changes in the output voltage. That is also, you can see only small change in the output voltage, right? So that is how this VTC, you can also draw it graphically or mathematically also, if you know the equations. So you should be able to draw this voltage transfer characteristics from the equations, right? So I hope now this characteristics is clear. Why it should be like this? Okay. So here this was flat initially. After that it has started falling. So the slope is changing. So at a particular point of time, this V out dV out by dV in, that is the slope of this, will become equal to -1, right? And then it will become sharply increased, right? And then once again the slope will start decreasing, right? Because now it has reached from the saturation to the triode region. So once it will reach in the triode region, again the slope will start changing. So again you will get a point where this dV out by dV in is equal to -1, right? So these 2 points where dV out by dV in is equal to -1, these 2 points is the two important points for on this VTC, and we have denoted these 2 points. This point where you are means the point, for this point the corresponding input voltage, that is, we have defined it by using this notation VIL, right? So what is VIL? How have we defined VIL? That means from 0 volt to VIL, for any input voltage on this range from 0 to VIL, the output is expected to be 1, right? So this is the range of input voltage for which the output voltage is expected to be 1. So that means this is basically logic 0 for in the input. Similarly, for this point, like another point, this one. So for this point, we have denoted this term by using this term VIH. So what is this VIH? So from VIH till VDD, any input voltage can be considered as logic 1, because for any voltage within this range, the output voltage is expected to be output, not voltage, the output logic is expected to be 0, or output voltage is expected to be low, right? So these 2 points, I think it's clear to you, input voltage VIL and VIH, right? So again, you can see there is a good amount of range, right? From 0 to VIL, any voltage between this will give you output as 1, and any voltage from VIH to VDD will give you output 0, right? Okay. Now corresponding to this point, right, there will be one output voltage as well. We have denoted that output voltage using VOH, right? And we have said like the output voltage is expected to vary from VOH till VDD. Here it is going up to VOH dash, but we don't know the value of VOH dash until and unless we know what is this element, load element. So to in generalize, what we can say that from VOH till VDD, right, this range is considered to be as output 1. Similarly, corresponding to this point, this VOL, right? And we have said that from VOL till below 0 volt, that is this range, right? Any voltage in the output is considered to be as output logic 0, right? Okay. So I think here we have defined all the points. Yeah. Last one more point, that is this point, switching threshold, right? So for that, what we have to do, just take a draw a line with V in equal to V out, right? So basically slope is equal to 1, and where it will cut this VTC, particularly that input voltage is called the switching threshold. So switching threshold means below this threshold voltage, if you apply any input voltage, the output is expected to be high, and if you cross this VTH and apply any apply any input voltage beyond this, then the output is expected to be in the lower side. However, this is true. I will also show you why it is true today. But remember, in normal design, we should not go beyond this point. This dV out by dV in equal to -1 point. We should take this one as the limiting criteria. Okay, we should consider the input voltage range for logic 1 to be 0 to VIL only. Okay. However, if you have multiple gates, then you can also go up to VTH. And one more thing, what we have discussed last class, that the region between VIL and VIH, this is called the transition region, because here the slope is changing very sharply, right? So and it is expected that VIL and VIH will be as close as possible. That means the width of this particular region in this plot should be as minimum as possible. That means this slope is expected to be as high as possible, right? Okay. So if this part is clear, then regarding the noise concept of this noise, we have also shown this plot in last class. So what we have said, suppose if you have two inverters connected connected in this fashion, then the output of this inverter, right, is the input of this inverter, right? So in that case, what will happen from this input side, from the input side of this second inverter, you can see that any voltage between VIH and VDD, VIH and VDD can be considered as logic 0, or logic any input voltage VIH to VDD, yeah, this can be considered as logic 0, right? Logic 0, this is the input. So if this is the logic 0 for this input, then for this voltage, it is expected that in the output, you will be getting logic 1 at this output. So basically, this is logic 1 at this output. And we have also seen that the logic 1 of this output means output of
Logic
output
1
of
being
this 1 minute, logic output of this first inverter. Yeah, you were asking something?
So shouldn't it be logic 1 for the input one?
Logic 1
Sir,
for
because
this
it is
input.
VDD.
Logic 1 for this
For the input case.
input. See, there are two inputs. Input for this inverter 1 and inverter 2.
Logic 0 instead of logic 1.
Sorry?
For the input case, you marked logic 0. It should be logic 1, right?
No. Why? Oh,
That
okay.
is-
Okay. Right. Here is a small mistake. Right. You are right. So it is logic 1 only. No? It is high only. Right. It is correct. So it is logic 1 for this input. Right. And here it should be logic 0 for no.
No, so they
1
are
minute.
cross-linked, like the
Should be
side by side
diagonal.
and the same.
Sir, it depends on which inverter you are considering.
Just a minute. No, see, for any case, it will be logic 1 only, right?
Yes,
See,
sir.
because it is VOH till here, right? So any case, it will be logic 1 only, na? This range, right? So similarly, you can see for this logic 0, right? Any voltage from this input for the input of this second inverter, any voltage from 0 till VIL, from 0 till VIL can be considered as, logic 0, right? Correspondingly, at this output side, any voltage from 0 till VOL will be considered as logic 0, right? So in this particular case, consider they are the same inverters connected back to back. So if there is some introduction of some noise in this channel, right, then if you consider the worst case, that means the minimum output voltage of this as VOH, and right, and here this case is minimum, the minimum voltage required for the logic input logic to be considered as 1 is this one. Then you have a gap of this amount of voltage. So if the noise is within this limit, then still this inverter will produce the expected output, right? Similarly, in the logic 0 case, if the noise is within this limit, then also this inverter will produce the expected output. So the noise cannot hamper the result, right, for this inverter. So we have defined the difference between this and this by noise margin high, and the difference between this and this as noise margin low, right? So we somehow it got overlapped, these two letters. So let me see that. Oh, it is not allowing me to. No. Okay, I think you have written it last class also, so you should be able to check it. No, I cannot actually move it only this much. So I will keep it like this only. Otherwise, this whole thing might crash now. So you understand, right? Noise margin high is the difference between VOH minus VIH. Noise margin low is equal to this VIL minus VOL, right? Okay. So I hope this recap part is clear. I think we took a good amount of time in discussing it again, but I think that this part, this time is worth, to invest time for this, right? So here now we will discuss one more topic that is also quite interesting. This is called the regenerative property of an inverter. Right. So for this, let us say that we have couple of inverters connected one after another. So suppose these are the inverters connected one after another, and say this here first initial, this one is V0 initial input, and the output of this is V1, this is V2, this is V3, this is V4, fine. And for our for our reference, let us also give the number this inverters. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now first consider the inverter number 1. Okay. So inverter number 1, if we plot this V output versus V input, so obviously you will get a VTC like this, right? Shown in the green line. So this is for inverter 1. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So,
Yes.
okay. What about inverter 2? What about inverter 2? VTC. See, for inverter 2, okay, the output of this first inverter is acting as an input for this inverter, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right, right. So then do you understand that if I now plot the VTC of this inverter 2, it will look like this? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. The axis
Yes,
will
sir.
change essentially.
That axis will only change, right? Maybe, we can type of do a small thing and show it also. See, consider this inverter, right? So if you are plotting here output and if you are plotting here input, it will look like this, right? You agree with me, right? Okay, fine. But the thing is that here now we are plotting, okay, if this is the output, then this output is expected to be V2 and this is V1, right? Input is V1, but here we are plotting V1 here and V not here. So V1 is here. So we have to change the axis, right? So we have to flip it, right? So this will come like this. So make a rotation, 90-degree rotation in this direction. So what you will get? You get something like this. Here you have now V1 and here you have now V2, right? Okay, but here the axis is in this direction. So you take a mirror of this, means consider this a mirror here. Take a mirror reflection along this. So you will get, right? So here you have this what V2 and here you have this V1, right? Fine. So, okay. So you understood?
You are plotting V1 versus V2 or V2 versus V1? For the second transistor, output versus input has to be plotted, right?
So this is the output versus input.
Yeah, and for the second also, right? This is the first one. First one will, okay.
No. This is for the second one. See, it is V2, V1. So this is second, na? This is the output V2, input is V1.
Sir, sir, we are plotting that V2 versus V1 or V2 versus V0, because V2 versus V1 would be same as V1 versus V0, right? Because
Okay.
they're identical.
Let me put it in this way. Suppose here we are plotting this output, right? So for this, consider the first case. So do you agree with me that it will be V1 and it will be V0?
Yes, sir.
Right, means output will be here, input will be here. Let us not go by this V1 and V0. Let us consider it from the output perspective. So this is output, this is input, right? Okay. But for the second case, the output of the first inverter will act as an input, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So but in VTC, what we have seen, the y-axis output, x-axis input, right? So you have to interchange then, right? So if you interchange, then the V2 will come here, right? And means what I am saying, just take a 90-degree shift. This is just for your understanding, right? So you will get an characteristics like this. But if you have to, superimpose on top of it, then take a mirror, right? And you will get V1, V2. Is this part clear?
Sir, but V2 is the output of the inverter 2, right? So shouldn't it be plotted on the y-axis?
Yeah. So then we have to plot like this. Right. Okay. Let me do that. So it is V1, V0. So it is like this. Here it is V2, V1. So here it will be like this. Here it is V3, V2 like this. Okay. So is this all right? These three
Yes.
figures?
This
Okay,
is
fine.
correct.
But right. Just a minute. Huh? So now suppose if I ask you to superimpose these two, then how we will do that? See here, V1 is here, this. So you cannot alter this position, right? V1 is here, right? So I am asking you to now superimpose these two plot on the same graph. Then you have to use the common axis, right? You have to make this V1 as the common axis. So that's what we are doing.
Yes, sir, got it.
Right, thank you. So if this is the case, then you understand that this is will be the VTC for this first inverter. Okay, if you have to superimpose and plot the VTC for this inverter 2, then that will be like this. On this, if you have to superimpose or plot together the in VTC of 1 and 2 together, right? Then it will be the same thing. Then what will be 3? So 3 will be same as this of this 1, right? What will be 4? 4 will be same as that of this 2, right? Okay. Now we have applied one voltage which is V0 to this first inverter. Okay. Suppose this V0 can have any value, right? But and we are guessing that maybe this is the threshold switching threshold for this inverter, first inverter, and also the second inverters, because they have to intersect at this same threshold, right? Okay. And but let's say that we are not going till threshold, but just little below threshold. Okay. Say maybe here. Okay. So we are applying and voltage which is V0, which is like this, right? Okay. So see, still V0 is beyond that V, which point? V input, which point?
Sir,
This
VIL.
is VIL, right? So this is still beyond this VIL, right? Okay, let's see then what will happen. Okay, so this here you are getting here. So what will be the output of this? This is V1. So V1 expected output is this. So here I should not write it V1 here, right? Because this V1 will now be here, and I should not write it here V0 now, because we are superimposing all the things. So we have to only write output and input like this, right? So it is V1 now. Okay. Now this V1 is the input for this inverter, second inverter. Okay. So that means here, right? So V1 is the input for the second inverter. So what will be the output of the second inverter? Output of the second inverter would be here. That is, this is V2, right? Okay. If this is the output of the second inverter, what will be the output of the third inverter? So for third inverter, again, this is 1, and also for the 3. Then again, you have to take a line here, or better, I think I can go it like this. Go it like this. Like this. What will be the output here? Output would be here, this V3. So V3 is the output of this inverter right here, right? Okay, what would be V4? So V4, you see, it has cut to this line. So if you take a V4 here, it will come somewhere here, right? So have you seen the interesting thing that is happening here? See, initially the input voltage that we have applied, which is V0, that is way off from this 0 volt, right? But this V0 was below threshold voltage, but it was beyond VIL, right? So it was way off from this 0 volt, right? This much was the deviation. Maybe suppose that deviation is due to noise, right? So when this V0 has passed through the first inverter and became this V1, then see this, okay, so it is below threshold, so we can say then it is at logic 0. So this will be at, maybe I can use some other color. So say this is at logic 0, so this will be at logic 1, this will be at logic 0, this is 1, and this is at logic 0. So if this is logic 0, but due to noise it has deviated a lot, right? And when it has crossed the first inverter, it is expected to be logic 1. But see, the gap between, suppose this is VDD, the gap between this and V1 has reduced compared to this, right? Okay. Now when it has passed through the second inverter, right? So after that it is expected to be 0, right? So when it has passed and it become V2, so see, it has become V2. So V2 is expected to be logic 0, that means it is close to 0 volt. So it, see, compared to V0, this V2 has much closer to 0. That means noise is getting suppressed or eliminated, right? Now when this same is passing through the third, right, it is becoming logic 1 at V3. So you can see V3 is here, which is very close to VDD, right? Right. When this V3 is passing through this V4, so you can see it is almost superimposed with this 0 volt, right? So if you have a single noise source, remember that we are assuming here that the noise is getting introduced only in this place, not after that. So if there is only a single noise source, and if that has corrupted your value of this input, but remember that should not be beyond VTH, then it cannot recover. If it is below VTH or the switching threshold, then the noise will start getting reduced as they are passing through the similar type of inverters, right? Or in other words, we can say disturbed signal gradually converges back to the nominal voltage level. Nominal voltage level means, because this has a type of two stable points, one as 0, one is this 0 or close to 0, and the other one is at high or nearly equal to VDD, right? So this configuration will always try to achieve these two stable values, either it is towards 0 or towards 1, right? So this particular property is called the regenerative property of that of a inverter. So you understand, regenerative property means if there is some noise, that noise will get eliminated once that input signal is passed through similar type of gates. Now I think you have understood why we have said like this threshold volt, you have defined this as threshold voltage, right? Because below which if you give any value, so slowly that noise will reduce, and you will your input or the signal value will be restored to the one of the stable voltage points, right? It may be, it will, if it is below a threshold, then it will go to reach this VDD. If it is above threshold, then it will reach to this point. Fine. Okay. Then what? Suppose this is like then you might can ask, is this the property for only the inverter, or what if suppose if you make a new type of gate, how do you define that whether that gate is regenerative or not? Okay, so how do we define, or what are the criteria for a gate to behave as a regenerative gate? That is this one. Its VTC is expected to be like this, right? So if I say its VTC is expected to be like this, it does not give the full explanation, or because we have to also articulate, right? What are we trying to say? So here we have to say like it has two regions. Okay, it has two regions where the slope of this VTC is less than 1. Okay, here slope is less than 1, here slope is less than 1. So it has two regions, okay, on both sides of a particular region where the slope is less than -1. Obviously, you know, I am talking about the magnitude of the slope, because here all the slopes will be in negative, right? Okay, and in between these two regions, we should have a region, okay, where the slope is much greater than 1. So if you see, if you draw a VTC of a particular gate, and if you get the similar type of characteristics in the VTC of that particular gate, then you can say that that particular gate is a regenerative type, or is a regenerative type, right? If you do not see it, this type of characteristics, then you can say that this is not regenerative type. So then I think with this you have understood like how this type of configuration, when you have repeated gates and if you have a single noise source, can eliminate as the signals pass through the similar type of gates, right? We are discussing now inverter, so we have illustrated it using inverter, but it can be any other gate, right? Okay, so suppose the same thing we want to illustrate using some waveform, that would be nice. So let us also try to do that. I will copy this part, huh? 1 minute. So suppose this is there, huh? Again, the same thing, 4 inverters connected like this. Okay, or maybe for the time being, we don't need the even the last one. This should be enough. Okay, so say that the VDD is 5 volt, right? And the VTC we are talking about, that VTC is like this, means it goes from 5 volt till 0 volt. I mean the full swing you are getting at this output. And suppose this V naught okay, I could have drawn it in a better way. So this is 2 3 4 5 1 0. Okay, so suppose the signal is, this is like volt. Okay, this is the signal that we have applied here. This is the volt and this is time. Okay, and say that this V naught is, maybe I can use some different color so that it will be clear to you. Okay, so suppose this this is blue one, is this V naught. V naught is this one, right? So you can see the expected swing is from 5 volt to 0 volt, but due to noise, here the V naught waveform is like this. Okay, so what will happen when you reach this V1, right? So when you reach this V1, so it will get inverted, obviously, right? So you will get an inverted waveform, and there will be also some delay between when it is going from input to output. So we will try to also represent that delay part here. So you can see as this V1 we are plotting, we have tried, it will actually improve compared to this V0. So this is V1, and now if you say that this V2, right, V2 will be, again it will be inverted and it will be closer to this, shape of will be this, like this, right? Uh-huh. Right, not a very perfect figure, but I think you are getting what I am trying to say, right? If you have a now this V3, now it will be almost closer to this one. You will get the almost the full swing. Right, so here this is using that waveform, the same thing we have drawn from this this plot, right, in the last page. This is also almost the same thing, but in terms of some waveform with respect to time, right? So you can see that even though there is a good amount of noise at this input, once they are passing through multiple gates, that noise is getting almost reduced and the signal level is almost getting restored to that expected full swing, right? Okay, so if you have understood this, I think this is the part that we wanted to discuss till here, right? Next part is the yeah, please.
Sir, is this the reason why threshold voltage, we consider threshold, if the voltage is less than threshold voltage, we consider it as logic 0 because of the regenerator property?
Could you please repeat?
Is like because of this regenerator property, is that the reason why we consider like voltages below threshold voltage as logic 0 and above threshold voltage as logic 1?
Right. But for design consideration, do not try beyond this VIL. Okay, above VIL and below VIH. Right. Do not try to go in that transition region.
Okay. And also, like, they intersect at like the in the previous graph where you drew the like the yeah, these both intersect at like the line like threshold characteristic. Yeah, that's VTH. It passes through V out is equal to Vn, right?
It passes
like
through
that.
Yeah, it is expected, right? Because you are, almost all, they are the same gates, right? And threshold voltage explanation is threshold voltage. How have you defined it? Is where the point where V out is equal to V in, right? So if you interchange, then obviously they will cut at the right, because here now, you understand, right? Because here, if this is the thing, now if we have to plot this one, then this input will go here, right? No, this input will go here and this output will come here, right? So they will cut at this threshold voltage point only.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So before I think couple of things I thought I will be able to finish this registry load part completely today, but I think that is not possible. Okay, anyway. So, okay. So just, for your quick understanding, okay, let us also do one thing, very simplified analysis, huh? So, using that resistive load, but we will take this example, means take this structure further on and try to calculate it in more detail. Right. So let us say that let us do the same structure again. This is R, this is VDD, this is ground, this is V out, this is V in. So suppose for this case, if we say like, okay, I think I need to draw this as well, otherwise it will be tough. We are plotting this VDS versus ID. Not drawing so many, right? And right, okay, fine. So you see one thing here, that when you plot the VTC from this, right, you are expecting a plot something like this, right, that we have already discussed. And we also know that when the transistor is off, the maximum output voltage that you will get VDD, no problem in that. Okay, because we are getting the maximum value at this output, right, VDD. But what about the minimum value? See here, minimum value, if you apply this VGS is equal to VDD also, then also you see the output voltage is this much, right? Because now you are operating in this triode region, right? So in the triode region, you can see clearly that this is basically I and V plot. So you have a resistance at this, right? So if you say that this resistance is as RT, okay, the equivalent resistance is at RT, right? Then you can very simply say that this is R and this is RT, this is V out, this is ground, this is VDD. So then what is V out? Right? Okay. Now, okay, what value of this V out, minimum value of V out, do you think it's okay with you? Should there be any limitation? Obviously, we want like V output minimum should be close to 0, but unfortunately for this case, we are not getting that. But is there any criteria to say like this should, at least this should be the minimum value?
VTH.
Uh-huh.
VTH.
VTH. And this VTH is what?
The threshold voltage of NMOS transistor.
Very threshold voltage of NMOS transistor. Because see, if you are driving this, driving with this V out, another NMOS, okay, of similar inverter, right? Then here, when you are, the V output minimum, if it is below, not below the threshold voltage, then the transistor will be on, right? Suppose the threshold voltage is 0.5 and the V out minimum is 0.6, then you cannot actually turn off this transistor. This transistor will be always on, right? So from that point of view, what we can say that this V out minimum should be less than the threshold voltage of this NMOS. So see the notation, we are using VTHN for the, this is the threshold voltage of NMOS. Okay, remember that. Okay, it is not the switching threshold of the particular gate. So this criteria is quite clear to you, right? And generally, we can say that this threshold voltage of this NMOS is within the range of 0.2 to 0.3 of VDD. Okay, 0.2 to 0.3 times of VDD. Okay, let us say that 0.2 of VDD. Right, so in that case, we can write this VDD RT by R plus RT is equal to 0.2 of VDD, right? So that way you can, I think if you calculate it, you will get, right? So this is the RT. RT is the equivalent resistance of this MOSFET, right? So if you do a simplified analysis, then that will also, that that has shown that this R value, the resistance value, whatever we have to add at this as a pull-up network, right? That has to be much higher, at least 4 times higher than that of equivalent resistance of this transistor in the triode region. So if you know the transistor characteristics, then you can estimate transistor or equivalent resistance from here, and you can estimate from here. Means I'm saying type of very quick estimation. You can estimate what is the value of minimum value of R that is required. Okay, so that you can use this your inverter in a cascaded mode. Okay, otherwise first inverter would be fine, but you cannot use the inverter, the output of this inverter to drive a similar inverter. Fine. Okay. So I think we will take a small break here for 2-3 minutes, and we'll come back after that and start more analysis on this particular inverter with a NMOS inverter with resistive load. Okay, so I'll stop recording this part. Second part we'll start a fresh recording.